IELTS Speaking Part 2 and Part 3. Part 2. Describe something you received for free. You should say what it was, who you received it from, describe something, where you received it, and how you felt about it.
I have received many free things in my life, but I would like to talk about a free coffee which I got on my birthday. When I visit Delhi or Chandigarh, I love to visit Starbucks as I love their coffee. During one of my first few visits, one of the salespersons in Starbucks told me to get a Starbucks card as I am a regular coffee drinker. She told me that the card was free and there are some amazing perks for regular coffee drinkers. I was skeptical at first, as there is no Starbucks in my city, and I was wondering how many times would I actually drink one. But after some persuasion by the salesgirl, I got one, nonetheless. One of the benefits was a free coffee during the birthday month. I didn't know this. So, by chance, I visited a Starbucks in June, which is my birthday month. When I was about to pay, the salesperson asked me if I was due a free coffee because of my birthday month, and should he make this order the free one. I wasn't expecting it, but more than that, I didn't ask for it, he offered it. I then inquired whether it could be any coffee and if I could make modifications like adding whipped cream. When he said, I told them to make it a mocha and add whipped cream. I normally don't make these additions because their coffee is already very expensive. I thought there would be no better opportunity to try it. So I went for it. I really enjoyed the coffee. If I would have paid for it, it would have cost me around 400 rupees. It wasn't a big amount, but it made me so happy, like I had won a lottery. That day, I got a card made for my mother and my sister as well. However, then the salesperson told me that the free birthday month coffee is applicable only when we buy coffee worth 5,000 rupees in a year. I don't think they will drink so much coffee, but I have already started looking forward to next June and the next free coffee.
Part 3. Follow-up questions. Do you think people should pay for higher education? Why?
I definitely think that people should pay for higher education themselves. I think people should only go for higher education when they are really interested. Paying it for ourselves means we do it only when we really want to. At the same time, I also feel that government should provide scholarships and loans to poor students so that they don't leave education because of money.
Is it good or bad for people to have a free education in the future?
I think free primary education is good because everyone should get primary education, but I think higher education should be paid for by the student themselves. Actually, I don't think it is possible for the government to fund higher education for everyone.
What free gifts do companies usually give to their customers?
In India, I think companies give small gifts like pens, calendars, and cups, etc. to customers. They are free gifts for customers, but in a way, they are advertising for the company. Then there are also deals, like buy one, get one free, which are technically gifts, but in a way, the prices factor in the free gift, such that the company is still in profit.
Why do customers like to receive free gifts from companies?
I think there is no better feeling than getting something for free. It is just human nature. When we get something for free, we feel lucky. When we buy something, we are always thinking whether we could have gotten something better for the same price, whether we were cheated, but when we get something for free, we feel like we couldn't get a better deal because what's better than free?
Cue card. Describe a car journey you went on. Where you went. What you did at that place. Who you went there with. Explain why you went on that journey by car. And explain how you felt about the journey.
I recently embarked on a memorable long car journey with my family. We decided to explore the scenic beauty of the hill station, Shimla, nestled in the foothills of the Himalayas. The journey was approximately 350 kilometers from our hometown. Upon reaching Shimla, we immersed ourselves in the serene surroundings and indulged in various activities. We visited popular tourist spots like Mall Road, Ridge, and Jakku Temple. The breathtaking views of the snow-capped mountains and the lush green valleys left us in awe. We also took leisurely walks, enjoying the cool mountain air and exploring the local markets. The trip was made even more special because I went there with my parents, younger sister, and our beloved pet dog. It was a perfect family getaway, filled with laughter, bonding, and shared experiences. We made countless memories together, capturing beautiful moments against the backdrop of nature's splendor. We chose to go on this journey by car for multiple reasons. Firstly, traveling by car allowed us the flexibility to stop at scenic spots along the way and admire the picturesque landscapes. Secondly, we wanted to enjoy the freedom of exploring Shimla at our own pace without being constrained by public transport schedules. Lastly, the car journey provided us with the opportunity to bond as a family and engage in long conversations while enjoying the mesmerizing views outside. Overall, the long car journey to Shimla was a delightful experience. It not only allowed us to unwind and rejuvenate, but also strengthened our family bonds. The memories we created during this trip will forever hold a special place in our hearts.
Part 3. Question 1. What will cars be like in the future?
What the future has in store, no one can tell. But as far as I can see, there will be cars running on alternative sources of energy. Already we have cars which do not use petrol or diesel and run on electricity. However, in future we may see cars running on solar power, biodiesel, or other alternative sources. We may even see flying cars.
Question 2. What's the difference between men's and women's preference on cars?
Gender differences are disappearing nowadays, and there is hardly any difference in men's and women's preference on cars. It is an individual preference. Some people like bigger cars and some like smaller cars. Some people like sports cars and some like luxury cars. For within the city use, people prefer small cars, and for long drives, people prefer big cars. Both men and women like all types of cars.
Question 3. What are the differences between bicycles and private cars?
There are a lot of differences between bicycles and private cars. Bicycles are cheaper, in fact much cheaper than private cars. Bicycles do not require any fuel to operate. Bicycles help people to remain healthy, as riding a bicycle involves some form of exercise. Riding a bicycle also does not require any license. Cars, on the other hand, are helpful when the whole family has to go out together. Cars are especially helpful when there are elderly or disabled people at home. Cars are also useful in adverse weather conditions. Cars are safer than bicycles, especially where there are no separate lanes for bicycles.
Question 4. Why do people like to have private cars?
People like to have private cars because they are very comfortable to go from one place to the other. They are very helpful when there are elderly or disabled people at home. They are very helpful when the whole family has to go out together. They are also helpful in adverse weather conditions. Finally, having a private car is a status symbol.
Question 5. What are the differences between bicycles and private cars?
Bicycles are eco-friendly vehicles. These are cheaper and also good for our health. But cars are better when we have to travel long distances. Cars are also better when weather conditions are harsh outside, such as rain or storm. Cars are safer than bicycles. Bicycles are safe only if there are separate lanes for bicycles.
Cue card. Describe a book that you have read many times. You should say, when you read it for the first time, what kind of book it is, what the book is about, and explain why you like read it again.
I have read a lot of books, but the very first book that I read still holds a special place in my heart. It is none other than the first book of the Harry Potter series, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. On my 10th birthday, my mother gifted it to me, although I was initially disappointed as I wanted a recently released video game. However, once I reluctantly started reading, I was captivated and couldn't put the book down. I stayed up until 7 a.m. the next morning, finishing the last page. The Harry Potter series needs no introduction. It is a story of magic and the classic battle between good and evil. But for me, it is also a coming-of-age story, depicting the journey of a boy becoming a man. The book's world building, character development, and magic system are all perfect. Moreover, the book doesn't shy away from depicting the hardships and struggles faced by the characters. Unexpected twists and unpredictable events keep the readers engaged, making it one of the most exciting examples of the good versus evil theme in fantasy literature. Harry Potter was the book that sparked my love for reading, and it will always hold a special place in my heart. Even now, I find myself randomly picking up the book once a month to read a few chapters. Somehow, every time I read it, I discover something new that I hadn't noticed before.
Part 3. Do you prefer books or movies?
I think movies can never capture the detail and the emotions that books can. So, I always prefer reading books to watching movies. But then again, it's not easy to find time to read books. So sometimes I still watch movies.
Do you think it is important to read the book before watching the movie version of it?
No, not really. Some movie adaptations are really good. A lot of my friends haven't read the Game of Thrones series, but they still enjoyed the TV adaptation. Ultimately, it's the person's preference and availability of time.
Do boys and girls like the same kinds of books?
I have seen some differences in the magazines boys and girls read. For example, I have seen a lot of girls reading fashion magazines and very rarely in the case of boys. However, in the case of books, I don't think there is any particular difference.
What kind of books do people like to read in your country?
I think reading preference doesn't depend upon nationality. It depends upon personal preference and the book itself. For example, Harry Potter is famous all over the world because it is a fabulous book. I think it was meant for children, but I have seen a lot of adults calling themselves Potterheads.
Cue card. Describe a speech you gave. You should say when and to whom you gave the speech. What was the speech about? Why you gave the speech? How did you feel about it?
I have not delivered many speeches in my life, but there is one memorable experience I had. There was an environmental fair organized by a local NGO in my hometown, where our school principal selected 2 students from our school to participate in a declamation contest. I was chosen from the 9th class, and we had only 2 days to prepare. Despite feeling nervous, our teacher helped us prepare on the topic of global warming, a pressing issue of today. During the speech, I discussed how global warming affects the entire planet and emphasized that humans are both the cause and the solution to this problem. I highlighted the pollution caused by deforestation, increased industrialization, and the use of cars and luxuries. Furthermore, I explained the effects of global warming, such as rising sea levels, changing climates, and the spread of diseases like malaria and dengue. And to address this issue, I proposed simple measures like preserving trees, planting more trees, using recycled materials, and avoiding plastic bags. Although I used to be stage shy, I delivered the speech confidently during the fair, and it was well received by everyone. Winning the first prize not only boosted my confidence but also made me realize my oratorical skills. That day holds a special place in my memory, and I will never forget the sense of accomplishment and joy I felt.
Part 3. Why do people get nervous when they speak in public?
I think public speaking is the most common fear among people. There are many reasons why people feel nervous when speaking in public. It may be due to lack of confidence, lack of knowledge about the subject or the topic, hesitation due to the feeling that they are being judged, or it may be because of shyness or an introvert nature.
How can they improve their public speaking skills?
Public speaking can be improved by gaining more knowledge about the topic or the subject. This will build up confidence. It can be practiced with friends and family who can help improve the speaking skills by giving feedback. We can also make use of technology by recording our speech and replaying it. And getting a lot of practice before the actual event helps improve the confidence to speak in front of public.
What different kinds of speeches or lectures have you attended in your life?
I have attended many kinds of speeches and lectures that in my life. During my school and college years, I have attended various lectures delivered by my teachers or guest speakers about various topics and subjects. I have attended some motivational speeches about things like time management, positive thinking, etc. There are many religious speeches that I have heard at the Gurudwara/temple/church/mosque. I have also heard speeches from by political leaders, usually right before elections. I have attended speeches and lectures about social issues also, like drug addiction, female feticide, dowry issue, and many more.
What kind of books do people like to read in your country?
There are many qualities/attributes required to be a good speaker, like confidence, in-depth knowledge about the topic, good memory, ability to keep the audience engaged, which can be achieved through an interactive session, where everyone in the audience is involved or maybe by adding a touch of humor. A good command on the language is also a must, and the person should speak clearly and confidently.
Why do many people find it hard to give a talk to young children?
I think it is hard to give a talk to young children because they usually have a very short attention span. They get distracted easily, and it is important to keep them constantly involved and engaged during the speech. They are not mature enough to know the facts, and there are different strategies used to explain the subject or the topic to them, for example, by telling a story that they can relate to and understand.
Why do people give speech to children?
The main reason for giving a lecture or a speech to children is to teach them moral or social values or to give knowledge about a particular topic or subject. It could also be used to motivate children to perform better or maybe to become more organized.
Whenever AI coding feels limited,
Cue card. Describe a new store in your town. You should say, where is it? What is sold there? Who goes there?
In recent years, many retail stores have shut down in my town due to the increasing popularity of small stores. However, some stores have also experienced a surge in business. Today, I would like to talk about one such store that opened recently and quickly gained popularity. It is a bakery called M4 Bakers. M4 Bakers is conveniently located near the center of my town, Fugvara. Despite the area being crowded, the store is situated close to the main market. Additionally, there is ample parking available for customers. At M4 Bakers, they sell a wide variety of bakery products, catering to different tastes and preferences. They offer traditional items like cakes, muffins, donuts, and pastries, as well as exotic treats like eclairs and croissants. Personally, I have had the pleasure of trying many unique baked specialties from different countries at this store. In addition to baked goods, M4 Bakers also sells imported snacks, including chocolates, sauces, and drinks. They have an extensive selection of bread, featuring different varieties such as brown bread, whole wheat bread, and garlic bread. The store is known for offering exclusive items that are not available elsewhere in the city. Recently, they have added freshly brewed coffee to their offerings, which has further contributed to the store's popularity. However, it is important to note that the prices at M4 Bakers are on the higher end. As a result, the majority of their customers belong to the middle class and affluent families.
Part 3. What is the difference between small stores and big stores?
The main difference between big stores and small stores is the price and variety. Bigger stores have the advantage of buying in bulk, allowing them to offer better prices to customers. They also tend to carry products from various brands, providing a wider variety of choices. On the other hand, small stores may have limited variety but can offer personalized service and a more intimate shopping experience.
How does price and quality affect consumer behavior?
Price and quality are two crucial factors that influence consumer behavior. Customers generally seek the best quality products at the most affordable prices. They often have to make trade-offs between price and quality, deciding which factor is more important to them based on their preferences, budget, and the perceived value of the product.
Why is cheap fashion popular?
Cheap fashion is popular because fashion trends change rapidly. People are hesitant to invest in expensive fashion items that may quickly lose their popularity and appeal. By opting for affordable fashion, individuals can keep up with the latest trends without breaking the bank. Cheap fashion allows them to experiment with different styles and stay updated, as wearing outdated clothing can be seen as unfashionable.
Cue card. Describe a place away from your home and you want to visit in the future. You should say where you would like to go, when you would like to go, who you want to go with, and explain why you want to visit the place.
I have lived in Punjab all my life, and because Punjab doesn't have a coastline, I have never been to any beach. So, in the future, I want to visit the beautiful beaches of Goa. Goa is about 2,000 kilometers from Punjab. The best time to visit Goa is during the winters as summers are very hot and sweltering, making it impossible to enjoy. Therefore, I would like to go there in December or January. Moreover, many people in Goa are Christians, and Christmas is celebrated with a lot of pomp and show there. If I go around December 25th, I would get to take part in the Christmas festivities as well. I want to visit it with my whole family, including my parents and my sister. I have heard a lot about Goa from my friends and family. It has some of the most beautiful beaches in India. Additionally, as it was under Portuguese occupation for a long time, it has a very unique culture. Another reason I want to visit Goa is to experience the beautiful churches and forts. The churches have a unique Indo-Portuguese architecture that is not found in any other part of India. It's not well known, but Goa also has one of the largest numbers of hill forts in the country. Many people hike to the top of the forts on foot and then come down. My parents have promised me that they will book our tickets if I secure good bands in the IELTS. So hopefully, I will be able to visit it this winter.
Part 3. Where do people love to go on vacations?
It really depends on people and the season. For example, during winters, people like to visit beaches and coastal towns to get a respite from the cold temperatures, while in summers, people visit hill stations to get relief from the sun. Young people are more likely to visit places with good nightlife and entertainment facilities, whereas older people prefer to visit religious places.
How does tourism lead to cultural exchange?
When tourists visit any place, they come to know about the local culture by mingling and communicating with locals, and local people also come to know about foreign culture by interacting with tourists.
Cue card. Describe an adventure you would like to go on. You should say, with whom do you want to go? When do you want to go? What do you want to do?
However, I have never tried any of these activities. So, I want to start with something a little easier, like trekking. My sister and her husband go trekking every year during the summer vacation. They also enjoy camping at night, immersing themselves in nature's embrace instead of staying at resorts. Unfortunately, they live in the US, so I can't accompany them. That's why I want to go trekking in India. There is a beautiful trek near Shimla in Himachal Pradesh that I have heard about. It is around 10 kilometers long and not too steep, making it perfect for a beginner like me. One of my cousins did it last year and had a great experience. The trek starts at the bottom of a small hill and ends at the top, where there is a stunning lake. People camp near the lake for the night before returning the next day. I have convinced my best friend to accompany me on this adventure. Our plan is to travel to Shimla by motorcycle and then embark on the trek. We are both incredibly excited about this trip. In fact, we have started walking about 10 kilometers every day as part of our preparation, ensuring that we won't face any difficulties during the trek. But what we are most thrilled about is camping beside a campfire near the lake. Both of us are fans of horror movies, so we plan to watch them all night long, adding a thrilling element to our camping experience.
Part 3. What kind of personality should a person have to be able to take risks?
It really depends on people and the season. For example, during winters, people like to visit beaches and coastal towns to get a respite from the cold temperatures, while in summers, people visit hill stations to get relief from the sun. Young people are more likely to visit places with good nightlife and entertainment facilities, whereas older people prefer to visit religious places.
Do adventures expand your horizons?
Yes, I definitely think so. Adventures teach us to step out of our comfort zone, taking risks in life that ultimately make us happier, more confident, and more open to new experiences. Ultimately, adventures empower us by helping us realize our capabilities.
What kind of people love adventure? What specific age group?
I think it's mostly the young who like to go for adventures because adventures can be physically demanding. However, being adventurous is also about being mentally strong. I think through mental willpower, people can overcome any physical challenges.
Which one is more interesting, adventure stories in the books or adventure films?
I think visualizing the challenge or adventure makes it much more exciting. So I would pick adventure films. I wouldn't say books are bad, but I feel it's nearly impossible to relay the difficulty of the adventure through words. Of course, there are some exceptional authors like George R. Martin and J.K. Rowling who have done it with their command over the language.
Cue card. Describe an invention. You should say what the invention is, how you use this invention, whether it is difficult to use it.
A life has progressed by leaps and bounds due to inventions in science, and nearly every field in life has been impacted by some invention or the other. However, today I would like to talk the invention, which has had an impact on our entire life. It is the internet, and nearly everything we do has changed because of the internet. The biggest difference has been on the way we communicate. We can talk to anyone, anytime and from anywhere. Also, it is much easier to remain in contact with our friends and family members because of the internet. Life has become faster as communication has become instantaneous. Internet's impact is not only limited to just communication. It has made a difference to the way we shop, the way we learn, and the way we seek healthcare. We can access every luxury, sitting in the comforts of our home. On the other hand, there have also been a few negatives of the internet. Internet has in some ways decreased respect for the elderly. First, we don't value them as much because we are not dependent upon them for advice or suggestions as in the past. We can search for anything online. If we don't know anything, we don't need to ask anyone. We can just simply search it online. This is making us independent, but at the same time making our grandparents and parents feel like they are losing their importance. Secondly, because they are not that comfortable with use of computers and the internet, they haven't been benefited as much as the young ones have. Slowly, everything is moving online and the old people are finding it challenging to adapt because of this.
Part 3. How has technology made our life easier?
Different technologies have made our lives easier in different ways. However, in effect, most technologies reduce our labor and save us valuable time, thus improving our quality of life considerably. They also, in a way, reduce our need on others because we can do everything on our own.
Which invention do you think is the most useful at home?
I think it's very hard to choose one. It really depends upon the person and their use. For example, I find dishwashers as very useful because in my house, I have the responsibility of washing utensils. For my mother, the answer might be the vacuum cleaner as she is responsible for cleaning.
Is it more difficult for old people to accept new technologies?
I think it's mostly the young who like to go for adventures because adventures can be physically demanding. However, being adventurous is also about being mentally strong. I think through mental willpower, people can overcome any physical challenges.
What can be done to help old people learn to make use of new technologies?
Many steps can be taken to encourage the use of new technologies. Firstly, these big technology companies can organize seminars where older people can be taught about use of latest gadgets. I remember when my mother first bought a laptop, she was offered a free 2-hour session on its use for the whole week. At the end of the week, she knew many things I didn't. Secondly, family members can also be helpful in helping their parents and grandparents when they are finding something difficult.
Will our life be better if we live without technology?
Technology has improved our life in many ways, but it has also brought many challenges. Life would certainly be simpler, but I wouldn't call it better. Moreover, I think we have become so accustomed to technology, just the idea of living without it is unfathomable.
Cue card. Describe a popular person. You should say who this person is, what he or she is like, why you think this person is popular, how this person influences the public.
I think famous people play an integral/important role in our lives, and every person has a favorite celebrity in their life whom they admire either secretly or openly. Today, I would like to talk about a sports person who is very popular and has been a constant source of inspiration to me and the millions of other people in our country. His name is Virat Kohli, and he is a cricketer. He plays as a right-handed batsman. He debuted, note the pronunciation debuted, for India when he was only 19 years of age, and since then he has never looked back and broken a lot of records. Currently he has the second highest number of international centuries in the game, just behind the legendary Sachin Tendulkar. From a personality perspective, he is an aggressive player with a winning attitude and strong commitment towards the game and his fitness. One thing that a lot of people don't know about Kohli is that he lost his father while playing a test match for his state team, but he still continued to bat, and only after he had saved his team from losing, he went for the cremation of his father. Apart from sports, Virat Kohli also does a lot of charity through his foundation, which works for better education and healthcare of underprivileged children. Recently, he was in the news for his marriage to famous Bollywood actress Anushka Sharma. They got married in Italy, and it was one of the biggest weddings of year 2017. I wish that he will win the 2020 Cricket World Cup for India in 2023 and lead India to #1 spot in all formats of the game.
Part 3. What are the qualities of being popular?
A popular person is one who is a people's person. He should be friendly and approachable by people. He should be helpful and empathetic. He should be a good listener and try to lead by example.
Do you know any popular star who likes helping other people?
Many celebs are attached to some charity organizations or are running their own NGOs. Salman Khan has his charity Being Human, which is doing a lot for charity.
Do you think children should imitate their idols?
It is not a question of whether they should. We have to realize that they will always imitate. So, the onus is on the celebs to be good role models and do what is good to be imitated.
What influence do popular stars have on teenagers?
Teenagers want to be like their favorite celebs. They take them as their idol. They are influenced in both good and bad ways. If their popular star is endorsing any product, then teenagers blindly want to buy that product even if they don't need it. If their popular star is doing something good, such as helping the poor, teenagers also go out and do the same.
Do you think popular stars have more freedom or less freedom?
I think popular stars have to lead a life which is open to public. They cannot be themselves and enjoy life like commoners can. In that respect, their freedom is restricted.
IELTS Speaking Part 2 and Part 3. Part 2. Describe the game you enjoyed playing when you were younger. You should say, what is that game? Who you played it with? Where did you play the game? And explain why you enjoyed playing that game.
I loved playing different types of games with sister and friends when I was younger. I used to play board games like chess, snakes and ladder and Ludo. I also had a set of action figures, G.I. Joes, and I loved playing with them with my friends. However, my favorite game during that time was hide and seek. During my childhood, one of my best friend's father was a government servant. They had this huge government bungalow. It was an old British period house. Moreover, they also had a huge lawn with many trees. In short, there was no shortage of hiding places, and that's what made it so fun. It was normally four of us, my friend Jasjit, whose house it was, and our two common friends, Saral and Navneet. Sometimes Jasjit's sister also joined us. The purpose of the game was simple. One person had to find all others in a limited time period. The person whose turn it was to find had to count for 60 seconds with closed eyes before starting. However, the house was very big, so we had to keep some rules. Some parts of the house were forbidden. For example, Jasjit's parents' bedroom. Sometimes we allowed changing hiding locations, and sometimes we didn't. Basically, we just thought of rules according to the situation. If the hiders were getting caught easily, we made it easier for them, and if the finder was finding it difficult, we made it easier for him. We all took turns finding and hiding. I still vividly remember the four of us making fun of each other, finding the weirdest places to hide, like inside the washing machine. A hide and seek gets boring after a certain time, when the person figures out all the hiding locations. However, his house was so big that it seemed like there were millions of hiding spots. I think that's why I enjoyed it so much. Moreover, there was no technology in those days. Only one of us had a computer, so hide and seek was our favorite game those days. We would usually play it at home in the evenings when everyone was free or on a holiday. I loved this game because one had to think of ways to make the best move to stay ahead of others. It was very enjoyable also because one had to move 10 pegs, not just one. And I loved it because we could all together have great fun trying to outdo each other.
Part 3. Follow-up questions. What games do Indian children play now?
Indian children like children world over now love playing digital games. Games like Super Mario, Pokemon, Farm Frenzy, etc. are very popular. Amongst outdoor games, children enjoy playing cricket, football, and badminton.
Do boys and girls play different games?
Yes, boys and girls play different games. Girls like to play less exerting games like Coco, hide and seek, etc., whereas boys like rough and tough sports like football, basketball, cricket, etc.
Why do children in kindergarten play games?
Children in kindergarten play games to explore the world around them and to discover their strengths.
Should games only be interesting or only to learn?
The primary goal of games is to provide mental and physical stimulation, so they do need to be interesting. Is winning important in games? No, winning and losing are a part of games. You win some and lose some. They teach one that life is a balance of both victory and defeat. Is it more satisfying to win in a team than as an individual? Winning is always exciting, whether individually or in a team. If I win individually, I feel a sense of great achievement, and if I win in a team, I feel our bonding becomes strong with each other. Why are some people bad losers? People who are very competitive find it difficult to lose. They do not understand that winning is partly their effort and partly due to luck.
IELTS Speaking Part 2 and Part 3. Part 2. Describe someone you know who has recently moved to a new place. You should say who he/she is, what the new place is like, why he/she moved to a new place, and explain whether his or her move has a positive impact on you.
People move to a new place for two main reasons, for job and for education. Recently, my cousin went to Victoria, Canada for her higher education. It was her dream to go there. She had wanted to go there since her childhood. So, she was very